Hello everybody. Yes, finally, we have some voice lines. Why couldn't I make any voice lines for my other two videos? I can't really say. In any case, hello, I'm Random Rando, and let's talk about tortoises. And just as a heads up, this is my first time recording any audio for my video, so I'm sorry if it sounds kind of strange or I sound kind of weird. We will work on that, alright? First, let's talk about what is a tortoise. A tortoise can be described as like the land-dwelling version of a turtle. The drier reptiles are a member of the testudians, meaning they're related to turtles. I don't have much to say, so let's just go into the facts. Fact number 1, tortoises can be very strong, surviving through many dangerous predators with their incredibly hard shell, which is a thick layer of bone and a bunch of keratin. Keratin being the same thing as your nails, it's pretty difficult to crack their shell. And so if you also thought that touching the shell would feel weird, it just feels like touching a nail, like the nail that's on your hand already. So don't worry about that. They actually feel pretty normal. Fact 2, tortoises are herbivores. It's a pretty well-known fact, but it will still count as one. Like many animals, tortoises eat a lot of greens, fruits, grass, flowers. So as you can imagine, they don't have a lot of energy. But honestly, they don't really need the extra energy. With their strong and actually really pretty shells, they don't need to do much running. Another small thing is that tortoises can actually eat cacti. The spiky things in life never really bothered a tortoise anyway, and that's how you can see a bunch of tortoises fighting alligators or crocodiles, and then immediately just going out into the sun to chill. Which, speaking about going into the sun to chill, tortoises love doing that. You will see a tortoise in the sun every morning. This is because they're a reptile. Reptiles are cold-blooded, meaning that they cannot change the temperature in their bodies, so they count on the environment to do that. And since the water is very cold, and they want to keep themselves warm, tortoises go into the sun. Not too hard to understand, right? Fact 5, a tortoise's life. Specifically, a tortoise's lifespan. Tortoises start off very tiny, very cute, lovely little Ninja Turtles. Which, if you realize, the Ninja Turtles are not turtles, but tortoises. They can grow up to be really big. Not like a tank or a car, but like how you would imagine a baby dinosaur. And it's said that tortoises can actually live up to 80 to 150 years. And some can live up to 250 years old. Now I truly understand what they mean by tortoises are forever pets. They will live past you and your kids. Hell, 250 years old? It will live past your grandkids. The current oldest living tortoise is calculated to be 192 years old. His name is Jonathan, and he is supposedly the oldest living animal currently. So yeah, if you're thinking of getting a tortoise, you should probably think about where it's going to live when you're 92 and balding. Which also brings us to our next fact. Tortoises can actually be pets. As a person who has owned many tortoises, these fellows aren't really the most snuggliest kind of pets. And you really have to have been in their lives for quite a long time before they get comfortable around you and let you pet them. And even then, they'll still rather just be in your presence. They just prefer to chill out. Though, if you still want a tortoise as a pet, here's a little thing that you should know. Tortoises are quite expensive. They need a lot of room to walk around and play in, not only because they get big later on, but because they also just don't like being in small, confined areas. And you'd have to buy a UVB light so they can get that vitamin D. As you can guess, without it, they can get really sick and have horrible health problems later on in life. But you should know that they can be quite expensive. So if you just have cash laying around, first, give me some. And second, get yourself a tortoise. They're cute, they're silly, they don't need much for entertainment. And if cats and dogs seem like too much of a hassle, or you're allergic, I think a tortoise is a much better option compared to getting another goldfish. Anyways, I think that's about it. If this video has convinced you to get a tortoise, here are a few of the most recommended kind. The Russian tortoise, the Hermann's tortoise, the Greek tortoise, and the red-footed tortoise. They are the most popular kinds. And with that, I'll end this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Sorry if the audio does sound bad. I really am not used to talking to my phone with a sock over it. It's all about that practice.